If you put alt bars on a drop bar mountain bike, does that make it just a mountain bike? Welcome back everybody, and in this video we're going to take a look at my Salsa Cutthroat, which I recently converted from its stock drop bar setup to a more upright posture thanks to the swept back Ritchey Kyote bars. So the Ritchey Kyote bars are 800 millimeters wide and provide 27.5 degrees of sweep. So first things first, I am not a mountain biker. If a trail is too technical to underbike it, then it is too technical for me. But I have always really enjoyed riding my Salsa Cutthroat on trails, even though it's never really been the most optimal setup for riding trails. So I know that some of you are going to look at this and you're going to say, well, you just recreated a mountain bike. My intention was not to reinvent the mountain bike, but rather to use this opportunity to make my Salsa Cutthroat even more functional and Laura friendly. So why did I want to convert my Salsa Cutthroat? Well, partly I wanted to distinguish it from my breadwinner, but the main reason is that I was always too stretched out in its original configuration. There's a really great ride that we like to do here locally that is a gravel climb and then a really rocky descent. And the Salsa Cutthroat has always been an excellent bike for that, except that I could never push myself back far enough off the saddle to be stable and comfortable going down those descents. So it's always felt a little bit sketchy. And it was while riding that route that I started thinking about what would the experience be like if I swapped the drop bars and that long reach for a more upright posture, some swept back bars, and something I could really brace against on the downhill. So how did converting the Cutthroat to a swept back bar change the riding experience? The first thing that changed is that it created a much more upright posture, which I feel to be generally more comfortable and less racy. The Cutthroat can sometimes take itself a bit too seriously, and I feel like this new position is a lot more fun. It also drastically shifted that downhill experience that I was talking about. I've always felt like getting into the drops on a steep descent can be really a sketchy experience. What's great about the Kyote bars is that they allow me to brace my hands and create a really strong upper body frame that makes it much less sketchy to tip down on a steep descent. Between the sweep of the bars and the shorter stem, I'm able to push back off the saddle much more easily, which makes me much more stable. So what do I like about the bars? Well, like I've already said, I really appreciate that additional stability on the descents. I've always really liked riding the Salsa Cutthroat on trails. I feel like the bike itself handles trails really well. But I've always felt like my hands on the drops, if I hit a bump just so, might just fly off. And the Kyote bar solves that problem by creating a nice, sturdy, stable platform. I also really like the angle of sweep of the Kyote bar. It creates a super comfortable hand position that's a lot more ergonomic than a straight bar and puts a lot less pressure on your hands and wrists. So I can't say that there's anything that I really dislike about this conversion, but there are a few things to note. The first one is that obviously it's not a very aero position. There's no way to tuck out of the wind. For me, that's not a big deal because I plan on riding this bike mostly on trails. But if you're considering a similar conversion and you need to ride long, flat, straight distances where you might experience some wind to get to those trails, it is worth considering. The other thing to note is that I feel like there's really only one hand position. Technically, the way the bar curves, you could put your hands in a couple of other places, but for me personally, those are not comfortable other hand positions. So it leaves me really with the one on the outer edges of the bars. So overall, I'm really happy with the Ritchey Kyote bars and this overall Cutthroat conversion. I feel like I was able to take a bike that I already really liked and make it better. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, keep the supple side down.